It seems the future of war might have just landed. And, you guessed it, it's powered by AI. The Pentagon has just pulled the curtain back on a massive new artificial intelligence platform. They're claiming it will completely revolutionize how America fights. So what does this actually mean for the future of conflict? Let's dive in and unpack this.
Wow, it doesn't get much more direct than this, does it? This is right from the official announcement. This isn't being framed as some small experiment. This is being sold as a fundamental top-down shift in military strategy.
So in this explainer, we're going to break down what this new platform actually is, what the Pentagon promises it will do, and then we'll look at the serious warnings from people who see a much, much darker side to all this. And finally, we'll get to the big question. Is this AI-driven future for warfare just inevitable?
All right, first things first. What exactly did the Pentagon just launch? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of this new initiative.
Okay, so it's called GenAI.mil. The easiest way to think about it is this. You know the generative AI tools we all use now, like ChatGPT or Gemini? Well, imagine a version of that, but built from the ground up specifically for military operations, running on secure networks. That's the core idea here.
And the scale of this, it's just staggering. We are not talking about a small pilot program for a few hundred people. No, GenAI.mil is being rolled out to over 3 million personnel. That is a full department-wide deployment right out of the gate.
Now, what's really interesting are the initial uses they're publicizing. On the surface, some of this sounds pretty routine, right? Formatting documents? Okay. But then you see phrases like analyzing imagery at unprecedented speed and using intelligent agentic workflows, which is basically a fancy way of saying AI agents that can do complex tasks all on their own, and you realize this points to a much more advanced operational purpose.
And here's the kicker. This is all being made possible through a huge partnership. The engine running under the hood of GenAI.mil is Google, specifically their Gemini for Government model. This really signals a much deeper relationship between big tech and the military.
So let's move on to the official justification. Why is the Pentagon doing this? What's the end game they're hoping to achieve?
Well, the official statements frame this as an incredibly urgent, high-stakes race. From the Pentagon's point of view, falling behind on AI just isn't an option. It's about winning a global tech race that they believe is going to define who holds power in the future.
And this slide just perfectly illustrates that strategic vision. Look at the language here. It's completely unambiguous. Superiority, lethality, dominance. The goal is to use AI as a massive force multiplier, to make every single part of the military faster, smarter, and ultimately more powerful.
This quote, this one is particularly striking. By using the phrase manifest destiny, the Pentagon is framing AI as more than just a tool. They're casting it as a brand new frontier for American expansion and control. That is a historically charged and incredibly ambitious way to see it.
Okay, so that's the official promise. But there is a starkly different view, one that sees this whole development not as progress, but as a terrifying step toward a pretty dystopian future.
And here you can really see those two narratives side by side. Where the Pentagon sees dominance, critics see the privatization of war. Where the Pentagon is promising efficiency, critics are warning about the dehumanization of conflict. It's the exact same technology, just viewed through two completely different and, frankly, opposing lenses. This quote really cuts right to the heart of all that skepticism. The core argument here is that an AI built for war will, by its very nature, be programmed for the objectives of war, not for things like benevolence or complex moral considerations.
This brings us to a really crucial, long-standing debate. The promise of advanced military technology has always been about precision. This idea that it leads to cleaner strikes, fewer mistakes, and fewer civilian casualties. But critics are asking a pretty fundamental question. Does the evidence actually back that up?
They point to something they call the precision paradox. The argument goes like this. The real purpose of a laser-guided bomb or an AI targeting system isn't to prevent civilian casualties. It's to make weapons more efficient, to let you use one bomb to destroy a bridge instead of 20. The goal, they argue, is military efficiency, not humanitarianism.
And look, this isn't just some theoretical fear. Critics point to what they say are real-world examples, like the reported use of AI systems by the Israeli military. One AI, supposedly called Lavender, allegedly identifies potential targets by scanning enormous amounts of data. Then a second program, with the truly chilling name Where's Daddy, reportedly tracks those targets and signals for a strike when they are at home
with their families. The crucial takeaway here is that this isn't science fiction. This is the reported reality of how AI is already being used in conflict today. So, all of this leads us to the final, unsettling question. No matter what the dangers are, is the widespread military adoption of AI just inevitable at this point?
For a lot of defense analysts, the debate is already over. They argue that AI is no longer a question of if, but of when and how. It's seen as a fundamental piece of modern military power, just like aircraft carriers or satellites were in past eras.
And when you look at this, you can see why the pull is so strong. The strategic advantages are just immense. The ability to process intelligence faster, make command decisions quicker, and analyze just unbelievable amounts of data in real time. It all creates a powerful incentive that's really hard for any country to resist. The fear of being left behind is a huge driver here.
Which all circles right back to that partnership with Google. This collaboration isn't just a simple contract. It really represents a major milestone in the fusion of Silicon Valley's innovation engine with the defense establishment. It's creating what critics have been warning about for a long time, a tech, military, industrial complex.
And so, we're left with this fundamental and frankly haunting question. As these AI systems get more and more autonomous, the lines of accountability, of responsibility, they just start to blur. If an AI makes a lethal mistake on the battlefield, who is to blame? Is it the programmer who wrote the code, the commander who deployed the system, or the machine itself? These are no longer philosophical questions for some distant future. They are urgent, difficult questions for right now.